Okay, just a very quick note before this video gets started and before I start waffling on. Just so you know, I'll be including clips about some of the things I'll be talking about and pictures. So, yeah, stay tuned, and if you are listening to this and not watching it, give it a look, because I'll be showing some clips to illustrate the stuff I'm talking about. Cheers. Hello, welcome to my phone going off. I have a new phone, Connie's old phone, and I really like it. Wasn't really used to it at first because it was a bit bigger than my old phone. I was like, oh, I can't get my thumb onto all the bits I want to, and wasn't fond of this case. She said if you're going to use my old phone, you have to use a case so that you don't break it. But I quite like it now. I've got cards in here, and well, my lock screen at the minute is the current audiobook I'm listening to, Kevin Smith, Tough Shit, which is okay. I want to show you my proper lock screen though, because that's a cool one. We have Yoda. So it's always nice to see that every time I open my phone. Right, I'll turn this on silent or vibrating unless I'm needed. Yeah, this is 20, well I guess what it would be, 26 up. I did this last year, 25 up. I did it on the 19th of June 2014, about 2 weeks before my birthday. Just to talk about the past year of my life basically, and I plan to do it every year, and I was going to do this a day before my birthday this year on the 4th of July, but I was a bit too preoccupied, which I'll get into, so it's now the 24th of July. I'm going to try and get them done before the birthday every year, but as it stands now I am 27, and so this is about my year being 26. You know, I think it's just cool to just talk about, you know, that year of my life basically. I'm not going to go into super detail, but yeah, I mean, I've just been flicking through the one I did last year and not much has changed really. Exact same spot, I look pretty much exactly the same, and nothing has really changed really, which sucks in a way. Again, the job front, and I've kind of had to kind of pour away some kind of you know, a few people out there on the internet have been asking me, oh, why don't you get a job, why don't you know. And you know, I've been over that before. You know, it's not a case of why don't I get a job. It's why can't I get a job? You know, I would love to have a job right now, and I'm looking and I'm trying, and I constantly do try, but sometimes it doesn't come easily, and sometimes it doesn't come as quick as you would like. But to just quickly kind of cap that part of my life, no, I haven't had a job the past year or the year before that. But I think you know, it is got to the point now where within the next few months, basically, or by the end of the year, for better or worse, it will be sorted out. We have plans in place, and we have a plan, the backup plan, and another backup plan. So it'll be sorted, but whether it'll be ideal or not, I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to enjoy the fact that I'm with Connie, my fiance, every day, and that's something. And there are a lot of things to be thankful for. You know, yeah, it would be great to be bringing in money, but got to try and look on the bright side while I can, basically. Yeah, I always think of things sometimes in bigger picture terms. You know, I've always been fascinated with mortality ever since I was a kid and how finite life is. So, you know, it's probably a bad thing that I don't necessarily worry on a day-to-day basis about the fact that I haven't got a job. I should be, and I'm not saying that I'm being lax about it, but it doesn't worry me that much. You know, it is what it is. But I hate not contributing. That's the only thing that really gets to me, which people have preyed on in the past here on YouTube. But that's the internet. That's what some people are like. Some people like to try and give people a little kick while they're down. But it is what it is. So we'll move swiftly on from that. So the past year, what have I been doing? Well, literally the day of my birthday, I started. I had a great birthday last year, by the way. It was fantastic, and I got sent packages by people, and it was my first birthday away from home ever, and it was kind of an emotional time for me, really. I just felt like it was going to be horrible, and it wasn't. I Skyped with my mum, I Skyped with my dad and my brother and my sister, and you know, I got messages, you know, from people from all sorts of parts of my life, and I got, you know, presents. I got a couple of cards that came from the UK. It was awesome. And then I also on my birthday launched a collaboration channel with two of my good YouTube friends, Ryan Chataway, Robbie Webster, the Blu-ray Brothers, and we ran that for like 2 months straight, and we just packed it with content, and I think we kind of burned too fast, too bright, and then ended up kind of fizzling out. But it was a fun ride while it lasted, you know, and I think we kind of just kept upping our game and putting too much effort into the videos, and that's what kind of, in the end, became its downfall. You know, it was, I think Robbie kind of couldn't keep up with it, with the stuff that's going on with his life, and so we just decided if we're not going to go full pelt, we'll just, you know, we'll leave it as it is, you know, and just, you know, it's a nice little 2-month legacy, I think, and then go back and enjoy some of those videos that I made, that Ryan made, that Robbie made, and yeah, Blue Brothers was awesome while it lasted. I'm talking to myself right now, and you have a wet towel wrapped around your head. Now here's the big surprise. You are not you. You are me. No shit. I think I did my silent movie marathon then, which was like a whole new awakening to me in terms of film. And again, the past year has been a huge year for me as a film fan, much like 2013 and 14 were, but even bigger because I became a fan of silent films last year in 2014. And then the silent movie marathon I did last July or August. I mean, I just watched all these silent films I'd never seen before, and it just blew me away. I saw all these classic films. I kind of reevaluated kind of my view on classic films, all these things, you know, classics like Sunrise, The General, I could go on and on, The Kid from Charlie Chaplin, more Buster Keaton films I saw, The Cameraman, The Circus, Charlie Chaplin, then go into like F.W. Murnau with, again, Sunrise, also Faust, which was amazing. I watched more Fritz Lang films, Die Nibelungen, Frau im Mond, which were just masterpieces, so I just was soaking it all in, you know. And then towards the end of the year, towards the end of 2014, we went back to the UK. Connie hadn't been there in I think a year and a half, 2 years. So that was a great week in October. Loved that week. You know, me and Connie went around, saw everyone in my family, my friends. We had a great week. It was really, really cool. And then I knew that I was coming back for Christmas, so it wasn't too bad to say goodbye. And that was the longest time I'd ever been away from home. It was like 10 months, and that was crazy. And then I came back in for Christmas, and I was there for I think 3.5 weeks, and that was a bit horrible. It's that weird thing where basically, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, I sometimes get questions saying, what's Norway? You know, I'm from Wales, Cardiff, Wales. I now live in Trondheim, Norway with my fiancée Connie, which is where she's from, and so I visited the UK. And knowing that I'd be away from Connie for 3.5 weeks, I was kind of depressed to be going home. And I got home, there's my mum, there's my dad, haven't seen them for months, but I was just thinking about Connie. Give it a few days, and then suddenly I'm enjoying being with my family again, and it's great, and then I don't miss Connie so much. And then after 3 weeks I get used to being home, and then I have to go back to see Connie, which is something I wanted from the minute I arrived in the UK. I want to get back to Connie, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to leave my, you know, say goodbye to my mum. I don't know how long it's going to be before I see her again, and it's a vicious circle basically. It gets slightly less emotional and devastating every time, but it's still always there. It still gives me at least a lump in my throat to say goodbye to either Connie or my mum. It's particularly my mum, really. You know, it's great to see my dad and everything, but I'm much more closer with my mum, I think. So yeah, I mean, it's great to visit and go back and forth, but there's always that kind of emotional kind of just punch in the stomach every single time. But it was great to go home twice last year. I was very lucky to go home twice last year. What else can I say about the end of 2014? Really, we just kind of, again, plodding along, trying to do what I can. And something I've been toying with for a long time actually is trying to start my own business in terms of doing just, you know, graphic design, video editing. You know, say someone wants a video made. You know, say you got a birthday of a relative coming up or an anniversary, and you want to make a video for this person. You know, maybe some old photos set to some music. You know, I could make things like that, just simple things like that, or design logos, which I have done for certain people, and I've been paid for that. So I've done some quote-unquote work again over the past year, but nothing really official. And then I wouldn't even know the legalities of like setting up a business like that here, and then the tax and stuff like that. I mean, again, that's the thing I'm not good at, is kind of just looking up and finding out. You know, I just get so bogged down with all the technicalities that when you try and find out something, and I just get frustrated with it, you know. But I don't know, that is an option I should probably pursue with a bit more ferocity than I have done, and not just think it in my head. And then we got 2015. All that money wasted. boom, 20 quid, boom, 50 quid, boom, 30 quid, 20, 30, 30, boom, boom, boom. There's a PlayStation 4, boom, there's an Xbox One. The thing is, they've been setting these off all day, like even a few days ago. I don't know, well, I was going to say I wonder why they don't save them all until midnight. This is the answer. They've bought so many that it's just they have to clearly get rid of all of them.
Look at that! Crazy! You can see a lot of those.
New year. A year that seemed to be the year that everyone thought would be like the best year ever for films. Didn't quite turn out that way. I mean, at least so far, I think that a lot of films haven't really impressed as much as people thought they would. You know, a lot of people were disappointed with Age of Ultron, with Terminator, and all these other big films. And I thought there's been some pretty good films this year, but this isn't about films. It's about me, I guess. So what do I want to talk about? I don't know, really. Again, it gets to the uneventful when you're not working. It really does, and sometimes days just bleed into days, and that is a bad thing. And again, I don't want to be sad talking about not having a job, because that's just depressing, really, and isn't really that interesting. So I don't know. Move ahead, 2015. What else kind of shaped this first half of the year? Well, I guess another thing, going back to my love of films and how that has changed. The end of 2014, when I was home for Christmas, I watched another Hayao Miyazaki film. You know, he directed Porco Rosso, which I watched a couple of years ago, and it's my favorite animated film of all time now. And if you follow my channel, you've heard me wax lyrical about Hayao Miyazaki before. But simply put, I watched another one of his films when I was home in December last year, and I was just like, oh, I just got to watch the rest of them, and I kept watching them. So the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015 for me, I watched all of his films, and you know, he's one of my favourite directors of all time now, and I'll talk about that more in the future, but suffice it to say, the silent films, you know, and just exploring those and being blown away by those, and then the Hayao Miyazaki films. Again, I've just found so many more films that I think are masterpieces and that I love and adore and can't wait to watch again and again and again as I get older and older, and make more of these videos. And also, I did a Japanese marathon this year, and so I saw loads of more Japanese classics. So yeah, I'm just like a sponge with classic films, which has been awesome. And again, when you have the time, you really should take advantage of it, you know, which I'm trying to do. But yeah, again, it gets to the uneventful, I have to say, and YouTube does keep me going creatively, at least. I always feel like I have to be doing something creative. I can't understand people who don't create, you know. Nothing against them, if they don't, that's fine, you know, but I just couldn't understand not being creative or not making stuff, you know. I know some people who don't, and that's fine, but I need to be doing something, you know. And oh, well, I guess there's something I could mention is, you know, I used to do backyard wrestling, and I guess this is going to colour the next half of this video, so if you're not interested now, I apologise, but well, this is mainly for me anyway, but you know, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Yeah, I used to backyard wrestle, and there's a whole other story, and this year I've been kind of getting back to a book I've been writing about that, you know, about my experiences, and it seems like, you know, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? You're writing an autobiography when you've done nothing, you know. But for me, it is, again, more for myself. It's a book for myself. I always think long term. I always think big picture. I think like, well, if I have kids, and then they have kids, and they have kids, and they think, oh, what was my great granddad like, you know? And people are like, well, I don't know. I didn't really know him. He's, you know, he's in the past generation. And they, oh, what's this book, you know? And then they can read the book and read this crazy story about how their granddad, when he was a teenager, used to travel around the UK and just throw himself down on grass for no reason, but for passion for wrestling. I don't know. So I've been trying to write that, and it's my goal to finish it by the end of the year. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but we'll see. And I started up a podcast called Back to the Yard. Well, I didn't start it up. My friend Alex McConnell had started it in 2011. He did 4 episodes, him just talking to backyard wrestlers, telling old stories and things like that, and then it stopped. And I said, well, let's bring it back, you know, and I'll do it, you know, but you can do it as well. So what happened was we recorded a bunch of podcasts. We got into contact with loads of other guys we used to wrestle over the years, and we recorded loads of different ones. And so every week on a Monday it would be me hosting one, the next week Alex would host one, and then the next week I would host one, and we just talked to all sorts of people, and we had about 2 months of continuous episodes, and it was great, and other guys got into it and were listening to them. We got a website set up now, and it's really cool, and you can stream it and download it, so that's been great. Just again reconnecting with people. I spoke to a guy, Dell, who I hadn't spoken to in about 8 years, you know, and we only knew each other about a year, but we really got on well, and it was just a shame that he completely fell out of my life, you know, like most people, you know. I mean, we all grew up and moved away from doing backyard wrestling when, you know, when it's not a job, and when you grow up and you have a job, then, and you know, priorities change, and your kind of commitment gets stretched, and you know, and then eventually it snaps, and then that's it really, and we all move on. But to go back and look back on it and do these podcasts has been really cool. And I did one with a guy called Dan, who, you know, I kind of got on well with, but never really hung out with that much during the wrestling days. And I think one weekend in 2012, he invited me over to his place in London, so I said, fuck it, I'll go up. So I went up to meet him at his place in London. And yeah, we got on just as well as we used to, but even more so. You know, I wasn't sure, because again, it was one of those things where you get to an event and there's so many people there, and you talk to them and them and them, and then you have your group where you stay with, you know, you stick with, and that. And I was never in his kind of group, but we got on well when we did. And then I went and visited him in 2012, and we really hit it off. And again, didn't go and see him again. It's just one of those things. And I did an interview with him on the Back to the Yard podcast, and so I hadn't spoken to him for a few years, and so we had fun doing that. And then I just started thinking about wrestling again, and I wanted to do another match. And so I thought, what have I got to lose? So I messaged Dan. I said, do you want to do it? There's an event coming up in this July called Britfest, and Britfest is a big event where everyone gets together from all around the UK, and they travel down, and everyone wrestles each other, and it's the big show of the year, kind of, and it's been going since 2001. So this year would be the 15th Britfest. I think that a couple of times they did 2 in 1 year, but this is the 15th one, and it's taking place in a fed called RCWA down in Essex, and they're not quite backyard wrestling. You know, they've got a ring, they've got a hall. It's more of a professional setup, but it's not, again, a professional that people aren't paying to go see it. It's just that people just doing it for the sheer love of it, which for me is what defines backyard wrestling. It's people who get together and they wrestle just for the love of it, not for any crowd. You know, just doing it for a laugh, basically. Or not even for a laugh. I mean, if you take it seriously, that's cool, but it's all about the fun of it for me. And they were still doing Britfest. You know, there's a couple of old guys who were still going there, still keeping the dream alive. And so I contacted them and said, you know, would you let me have a match? You know, after all these years, I wrestled on 3 Britfests in the past, 2007, 2008, 2009, and I was at also 2006 and 2005, but I wasn't good enough to be on the shows then. But I kind of got promoted in 2007, made the main show, and the guy who runs it down there with someone else, Steve Farrell, he's like, yeah, sure, that'd be great to see you on the card, and especially Dan, who he's more of a legend in the backyard wrestling community in the UK. So yeah, I think it was kind of a big deal for them to have him down there, or at least for Steve Farrell, because he's also a big fan of Dan and a good friend of him and a good rival of him as well. I mean, everyone's wrestled each other, but there's always those few people you never got to wrestle, and Dan was one of those people for me. So I messaged him, and he said, sure, if it's nothing too crazy, let's do it. And so that was it. I thought, okay, now I need to lose the weight, and that was a big change in 2015. I started losing weight last year in 2014, and I just kind of never really stuck to it. I was seeing results, but I wasn't sticking to the consistency of doing it. So this year I thought, well, if I'm going to wrestle, I can't wrestle in the state I'm in now. I got a bit of a gut, so two months I really went at it. Gym almost every day, you know, doing yoga, eating better, not eating crap, you know, and it worked. It really worked. I lost about 1.5 stone, all told. Before, you know, I went back to the UK in the summer. So this year in the summer, me and Connie went to Wales. Connie came with me for a week and a half, and then I stayed on for another 3 weeks so that I could be there for my birthday on 4th of July and also be there for the match, which was the 4th of July. That's when Britfest was. So I had a lot of kind of work to do in terms of training and keeping fit, but as soon as I got back to the UK, I mean, there's so much stuff there that you can't get here that I love. you know, in terms of like soda, pop, and you know, snacks and stuff. I tried my very best. The week that Connie was there, the week and a half, we went out and ate every day. We had like burgers and chips and stuff, and I was still doing yoga every day and trying to just, you know, keep it, you know, keep my weight at bay kind of. But I kind of laxed a little bit. But the weeks leading up to the match, I knuckled down. I got the weight back down again, so I was still about 1.5 stone lighter than I was normally, and that was good. And I'm boring myself just talking about this, so I'm sorry if this is boring you as well. Yes, when you kind of become aware that this might be quite uninteresting to someone, it's not really a good sign, but I'll keep on going for the sake of it. So the match is coming up. And I'll talk about the trip to Wales, but I'll just talk about the match now. And we built it up. I mean, 2 months prior, there was a huge build-up where I started posting these cryptic videos with all these like kind of numbers and flashes and static and stuff. And it's a mystery, you know, what is this? Who is this? And then I'd have my voice on there, but it was all distorted and warbled.
You want to know who I am, but what you don't want to know is why I am.
And some of the guys on the Facebook, we have like a Facebook private group now, all the old wrestlers, and we talk and stuff. And I was posting the videos there anonymously, and they were taking the audio of my voice and like trying to like speed it up and see if they could find out who it was, and like it's taking snapshots. It was really, really fun. And then eventually I revealed it was me. I think the interest dropped a bit. And then I just started doing more promos, and I did also, I mean, me and my mate Denzel, he drove me out to this abandoned village in Cardiff, one of the first days I came back to Wales this summer, and we filmed some great stuff. Just the look of the place and everything, and yeah, it was really, really cool. My promos, I don't know, they weren't that great, but it was a fun location at least, and it was cool to kind of get some kind of a unique backdrop for these videos where I'm kind of saying, oh, I want to beat this guy up, and you know, me and him at Britfest, that kind of thing. So I challenge you to a match at Britfest. I challenge you to not only walk into that ring at Britfest this year and receive the adulation and to shake the hands of the fans at RCWA, but to earn that adulation by facing me in a match. Can you do that, Dreamer? Of course you can. As soon as I mentioned a challenge, I know you were just putting your wrestling boots right on, weren't you? You can't resist another shot, another moment in the sun. I did one where I got up at like 4 in the morning, went down to this field near where I live in Wales, and walked through this fog. It was a promo that took about 5 minutes, basically, of me walking towards the camera, slowly coming through and out of the fog, and that worked out really well, I think, just kind of visually and conceptually. That was pretty cool. But it got to the point where it felt like this match has been built up to be so big, it needs to deliver. And that's when the nerves really started kicking in. And so the day itself, you know, I went up to Dan's place in London. He had a new place from the last time I went there. He's got a house now. So I stayed with him and his wife for the night, and then we went down to Essex for the match for Britfest, and it was very strange. It was like, okay, here's all these people who are doing the stuff we used to do when we were teenagers, and it's their thing now. And it felt very vacant in a way, and it was kind of like a bit awkward almost socially, you know, we didn't know what to do. And then some of the old guys started turning up. One of my best mates, Alex, turned up, and then we sort of had our own group to talk with and socialise with, so that was cool. But I was so nervous for the match, and we were on 4th, which suited me. I didn't want to wait till the end of the show or anything, or near the end of the show. I like to kind of get out of the way and enjoy myself, because I was so stressed out just about messing up. And the more we planned about what we can do in the match, the more I thought, this is too much to remember. I don't like to plan too much in matches. I like to kind of just wing it when I'm there and have key points to remember. And I just thought, what if I suck? And what if they don't react? You know, what if I go out there and they don't boo? You know, what if Dan goes out there and they don't cheer? I'm the bad guy, he's the good guy. There needs to be that reaction. And we built this up into some kind of big match, and so we did the match, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I am proud of myself. I'm proud of the fact that I lost, you know, 1.5 stone. And this is the whole reason I want to wrestle again, because the last match I had in 2011, I was overweight, and it wasn't a good match. You know, I tried to convince myself it was, and that it was fitting, but it wasn't. It wasn't up to the standards that I'd set when I was, you know, in my, you know, late teens, early 20s, and so I wanted to kind of do one more match where I could at least say that was pretty good. and I could. It was pretty good. It wasn't great. There was a couple of mess ups, you know, from flubs. We covered from them very well. You know, we didn't dwell on them. I didn't dwell on them at the time anyway. For a few days after the match, I was like, oh, I can't believe I messed that up. I can't believe he messed that up. You know, but the crowd was there. You know. And maybe, yeah, they were going along with the motions. Maybe they weren't really feeling it, but the crowd was there, and we entertained them. We had a good little match, and we had some good little spots. And the ending, I thought, worked out really well.
So go for DDT.
And again, if you want to hear more about the match itself, then you can read the book when it comes out. But I'm sure that it's boring anyone at this point. But yeah, the match went off pretty well, and I was really happy with it. And at the end, it was a little bit emotional. It was like, that's it, you know, it's done. I've finished it, you know, that is it, no more wrestling. And could I do it again? Definitely. You know, I could easily wrestle again. I could wrestle probably another 100 matches, but you never know what's going to happen. And that was another thing I was worried about. What if just a freak little, you know, just something you can't account for happens, and I break my arm or something, you know. But I was fine. I was beat up, I was bruised and stuff, but you know, I could handle it. And yeah, I think it's nice to leave it at that. And to wrestle a guy like Dan, who I think is amazing, he's one of the best backyard wrestlers of all time. In terms of what backyard wrestling was, he was one of the best, and I could tell that just by working with him. And he hadn't missed a beat, really. The problem was really that at the beginning of the match, he jumped off the top of the ring onto me, big crossbody, and he just caught me so square, and it felt like someone had run a knife across my stomach. And I thought for a few seconds, I'm not going to be able to continue. I'm going to have to stop the match. I just couldn't breathe. I was in so much pain, and I was just gasping for dear life and just making it to the next bit, to the next bit, to the next bit. It was very tough, and then I was just so out of breath, you know. Again, training and losing weight and doing like yoga and stuff and whatever doesn't really give you the conditioning to be in a wrestling match. It's so unique. There's no feeling like it. You just need to kind of wrestle it every week for ages to kind of become accustomed to it, I think. Unless you just go hardcore cardio training, which is something I'm not really going to do. And I knew that. I knew it was going to be blown up, but either way, I was happy with how it ended, you know, and the story and all that kind of stuff. Definitely could have been so much better, and I feel like it was a wasted opportunity in a way. But you can't dwell on these things. Nothing's gonna be perfect. So it was what it was, and I'm really happy with it, and it was very fitting, especially to go out at Britfest, one of the biggest shows, you know. And it was a case of guys like me and Dan wrestling on the show, and then the younger guys. There was all the mix of generations, and it was a very bittersweet day. I had this feeling of, you know, this ain't our time anymore, you know. It's that's it now, you know. To quote Love Actually, enough now. You know, I used to be in love with this, but it's time to let it go, basically. And that was tough, but you know, it was good to do that. And the whole trip back in Wales, I was there for about a month again. Again, missing Connie when she left, and vice versa. And then I was going to miss my mum when I came back here a couple of weeks ago. But I did some great stuff, you know. Had a little pizza party at my uncle's. My uncle's got this this kind of stone, what do you call it, pizza oven. Yeah, like he built it in his garden basically, and you just kind of, you know, he stokes it up, puts the fire in, and then heats it up, and then you put the pizza in that you make. You know, you get the base and put all the cheese and the tomato sauce and whatever else you're gonna put on the pizza. You put it inside. He shoves it in. Within 2 minutes, he pulls it out and it's done, and it's like one of the best pizzas you'll ever have. So that was cool. Connie got to experience that because she's a big pizza fan, and she loved it as well.
But the pizza hasn't got any eyes. How can it stare at you?
Eye.
That's a pepperoni. That's not an eye.
She's the complete opposite.
I won the pizza lost.
Getting to see my brother again. You know, he stayed over mine one night, and seeing my sister. I went out to play pool with my dad for a couple of nights. We always try and do that. It's kind of hopefully becoming a tradition. We go down to the pool club like late at night. Usually we go around midnight until about 2 in the morning and just play pool all night basically, and usually his mates will turn up, but love playing pool with my dad, so that was great as well. Watched loads of films with my mum, which was really cool. We watched loads of classics. We watched like Rebecca, we watched Laura, 2 really great films from the 40s, I believe. I know Rebecca's from the 40s, I think Laura is too. We watched Ben-Hur, which was brilliant, you know, proper epic, and it's one. I think my mum said it's her favourite film. I almost got her to make a video. I was gonna like make a video of me sat here like this, my mum sat off camera and just talking about it. She doesn't want to be on camera, but it'd be cool to kind of have her in a video in a way. But she wasn't interested in that, even though I know that it would be cool. But yeah, it was great to watch that with my mum. We watched some more films as well, and that's the thing I like doing with my mum, watching films, and she loves the old classics, so it's cool to watch those ones as well, because again, I don't think Connie would really sit down and watch Ben-Hur with me. The Towering Inferno was another one we watched. So yeah, did good stuff with all my family, and then my nan and granddad, they were going on a trip up to North Wales, which is where my granddad is from, in Portmaddock, and so they were driving up. My mum was going to go, and I said, well, can I come? So I went with them. So we all drove up, and it took all day to get there, and just driving up with my grandparents, my mum, was awesome. That's just, yeah, that's really special to me. I really love that. And then going back to North Wales, I hadn't been there, you know, with 20 years. Last time I was there, I was a kid. You know, I have flashes of memories, but not too much. And so it was surreal going back to that town in North Wales and seeing the old steam engines I loved as a kid, and you know, just being shown around and seeing some members of the family up there, which I hadn't seen them in about 20 years. Very strange and surreal in a way. And again, a little sad. It's a little bittersweet. It's like, you know, so much has changed, and just to be somewhere and to have visited somewhere that you know, where you have family and stuff, and then to not go there for like 20 years and then come back, it was very odd. You know, we went to this big Tesco and there was this old abandoned building. My mum was like, oh, that was a cinema. I went to see Supergirl there in the 70s, and it's like, oh man, you know, time, you know, time just flies. My nan and granddad rented this little cottage for the week. Me and my mum were staying there for just the weekend, and we played cards every night, and that was brilliant. I loved that as well. We played 9-card brag, and we just played all night, like hours. Me and my mum, my nan and granddad, and we had we have a proper laugh when we play cards as well, which is great. And we had betting with pennies and stuff, and again, they're great memories that I will cherish. You know, we enjoyed it so much that when we were all back in Penarth, we went around and just played cards again all night. You know, which we don't usually do when we're just at home in Penarth, because we just don't, but we enjoyed it so much we went and played again, which is cool. Maybe I think my Uncle Tommy as well, who's no longer with us, and you know, the nights of him playing cards over my nan's, which is again, fond memories, and you have that kind of bittersweetness as well coming in. I just, in my nature, just to be bittersweet about everything. I always have to kind of almost get down about stuff, you know, I think, oh well, you know, back in the day, and I don't know, it's just the way I am really. But the North Wales trip was awesome. And my nan and granddad were staying for a week, me and my mum a few days, so me and my mum got a train back, and that was amazing. It was a train down from North Wales to Cardiff and then to Penarth. It took about 6 hours, and just the whole, about I guess 80% of the trip was all down the coast of Wales. Fantastic. The scenery was amazing, these mountains, the ocean, and oh, it's brilliant. I really, really loved that, and nice to just kind of, it's nice to just travel with my mum, you know, like to, you know, go on a 6-hour train ride with her. We didn't really speak much, but it was just nice to kind of spend time with her and just be, you know what I mean? It's just nice. I like that. That's me. That's just me. So yeah, I thought the trip in June and July was brilliant.
Stuff like that, 'cause if I go up in weight, I gotta stay up. You know, I can't fluctuate. So, but you know me, man, it's anybody.
And I also got to spend a lot of time with my friends. Rolly and Denzel, two of my best friends. We had a couple of Sega nights, as we like to call them. This originated back in 2009 when, again, I used to wrestle with these guys in my hometown, and one night we just went over Denzel's and he dug out his old Mega Drive and we're like, oh, let's just have a Sega night. Thus was born the Sega night, and it just, you know, it was just always me, Rolly and Denzel, and we would just play like Sonic 2 and 3 until 4 in the morning. It would be awesome. So we always try and have another organise another Sega night, and so we did a couple, I think, this time. Oh! Oh my god. This is the second level. Wow. What?
What's the point of continuing?
Yeah, what's the
Come on. Batman's gonna have to retire, I feel.
Yeah.
But while I'm here.
Which was really cool. We tried to play through all of Sonic 2 and get all the Chaos Emeralds, and on the 5th Chaos Emerald, I passed the second controller over, and the controller moved the Mega Drive, and the game just reset itself. It was devastating. It was really horrible, but it was fun, I guess. Yeah, that was cool. And we did a little show. We did a little wrestling show. I know, again, I don't want to go into the wrestling, but all the guys in Penarth, my hometown, we've wrestled since like 2004 together. And there's always that, let's do another show, let's do another show. And I'm like, alright, let's do another show. And if you want to do another show, let's do it. And then, oh, well, I don't. So, well, come on. And then, yeah, we'll be there. And then we kind of all turned up, and no one turned up, really. So it was me, Denzel, another guy called Rich, and me and Denzel just wrestled. And this was actually 2 weeks before the Britfest match, the big one I was just talking about. So I felt like maybe if I could just get in a little match here just to kind of test myself, see what my limits are, and that was quite helpful for that Britfest match. So me and Denzel just had a proper old school, we didn't plan anything, we just did moves. It was like going back to 2004. It was just a laugh, you know, and I was a bit achy afterwards, but it was a lot of fun. And again, to wrestle one of my best mates, you know, in my second to last match was pretty special too.
1, 2, 3. How you doing, Dance? You good?
I wanted to leave in a blaze of glory, but elbow out gracefully.
Oh my days. And how you doing, Luke?
And we went to see Terminator, we went to the midnight showing of that, which was a disaster. There was like 4 people there. I love the film, but you know, but again, it was great to spend time with Denzel, and just we walked into Cardiff, and reminded me of when we went to see the Dark Knight Rises, the 5 AM showing, which was brilliant. So yeah, got to spend a lot of time with my family, my friends, and do some special stuff and go on a trip. A couple of trips actually. I went to London, obviously, to do the wrestling match. And yeah, so yeah, I'm now 27. And I feel like I should be in a better position. I feel like I should be making films. I should be doing and pursuing my dream, which I probably talked about in the last year's video. But, you know, not much can be done about that, except for me just believing in myself and going for it and making films when I can, however I can, and I will. And I think probably my favourite thing about the whole kind of past year of my life has been this family project that I've started, which has been very personal to me. It all came from a dream I had. I had a dream that me and my grandpa were walking down this street in this black and white film and having a conversation. I was a little kid, and it was like some kind of great indie movie, and I loved it. And then suddenly within the dream I was a teenager at my grandpa's house watching it, and he was talking to me about how, you know, what he did when he was my age, when he was a teenager. He was telling me all these stories, and I said, wait, hold that thought, let me go grab my camera and film you telling me these stories. And then I woke up and I thought, oh my god, like, I felt so depressed that I didn't do that, and that I didn't have those videos, and that it was a dream. And then I thought, well, let's turn this negative into a positive. Why don't I do this with the family members that are still around? And so in October last year, I sat down with my nan, and we talked for about 2.5 hours, and we filmed a conversation, and it was awesome. I got to hear more about her life, about how she grew up in Singapore, and all the things that she's done in her life, and the jobs that she's had, and little stories here and there, and it was awesome. You know, I mean, I think with family members you can know so much about them, but in what situation do you really sit down with them and say, okay, let's just talk about you for 2 hours. Let's just talk about your life, things I don't know about you. Just all those things. It was a great excuse to kind of know more about your family, but also to have this on video, hopefully, you know, for forever, and for future generations to see. I said this to my nan, it's a bit morbid, but I think it'll be really interesting to people in the future. I mean, if I could see videos of my great-grandparents just talking about their life, I'd pay like hundreds of pounds for that. I'd pay thousands for that. I think it would be so cool and so interesting. I'm so into the past and where you come from and the people that you've come from. You know, the line, the lineage is awesome. So that's the idea behind it. Then in December, I spoke to my other nan. We talked for about an hour and a half. That was great as well. A bit more emotional because she was the wife of my grandpa who passed away many years ago, so obviously we talked a lot about him and it was quite sad, but it was also really good as well, and she wasn't sure what to expect from it, but in the end she was really glad that she did it and she really enjoyed it. And then in December as well, last year, December 2014, I did one with my dad, which I never thought I'd be able to get him to do, to sit down. I can't get him to sit down for longer than 5 minutes to do anything, but for him to sit down for 2 hours and talk about stuff was amazing. And he's such a great storyteller. I knew he'd have some great stuff, and it was fantastic. And the best thing about that for me was I asked him about my brother, and my mum was in the room. We did it at my mum's place, and again, it's probably the longest time I've spent with my mum and my dad in the same room, just the three of us, probably since I was like a little baby. And so she sat there and she was like, oh, I'll go out in a minute, but she stayed there for the whole 2 hours or however long it was, and was kind of chiming in every now and again, which was really cool. But the three of us talked about my brother, who died when he was a baby, a few years before I was born. And I just wanted to know more about the situation, because I'd never really sat down and said, tell me more about Sean, because, you know, how do you bring that up? And it was an excuse to do it, and I'm glad that I did do it, even if it was a bit emotional. And my mum said afterwards that she was really glad that I brought it up, because my dad said stuff about it that she never knew that he even thought, you know. And so it was a really great moment for me, and I'm so glad I got it on video. And I also took a kind of a video / picture of the three of us together, which I won't show in this video because it's very personal, but yeah, to get a picture of my dad and my mum, which I've never really had ever, was really special as well. So that to me was probably the best part about the whole last year. It was incredible, it really was. And yeah, that's kind of been my overriding memory of my year of being 26, I think, is getting that family project off the ground, and I hope to continue it in as many different forms as I can in the future. So yeah. And one more thing I need to mention. A few days before I came back here, it sounds sad, weird to say it, but our world was almost turned upside down. Me and Connie's cat, our cat Lily. We have another cat called Shelby who's back home in Wales. It's too expensive to bring both of them over, but Lily was our first one, our first cat that we got together. She's our baby. We got her in 2011, and a couple of days before I came back here, which is only a few weeks ago now, Lily had been missing for a while, and we found out that our landlord got in touch with Connie and told her that Lily had been stuck inside the engine of his car, and she must have been stuck in there for about 12 hours, and they'd been driving around all day. And so when they pulled her out, you know, a lot of her fur on her side seemed to be burned off or cut off, wounds on her legs, stuff like that. And yeah, we weren't sure if she was going to make it, basically. But she's pulled through. She's the Terminator, and she's currently on her tree now with a big cone around her head, and we've had a lot of trouble the past couple of weeks. She's been throwing up and all sorts of stuff. She's been on antibiotics. She's had to go back and had the fur shaved on the back of her leg and stuff like that, and she still has wounds and things, but I think she's gonna get back to normal, and she's starting to be herself again. So I am so thankful that Lily pulled through that, because she is a Terminator and she is a badass. And so yeah, even if she's annoying and I have to clean up loads of sick all the time, I'm very thankful for the fact that she's okay. And my battery's now running out, and that's all I think I really need to say about the past year of my life. There's probably some other things, but yeah, it hasn't been all that bad. And in the next couple of months, I'm going back home to fulfill another lifelong dream. So I fulfilled 2 in 2014, I'm going to fulfill 1 in 2015, so that's pretty cool. More about that next year. You'll probably hear about that earlier. I'll probably make a video about it on my channel, but as far as this, you know, this birthday, getting older every year video series. You can hear about that next time in 27 Up. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed and gained something from this. If not, I'm sorry. See ya.
I was fucking doomed by the Lambrini as well.